iHeart, get ready. Fantasy football is here. Welcome to the Scout Fantasy Show. ScoutFantasy.com is home to the Fantasy Football World Championships and the best players in the world. Real money winners giving their secrets to help you win. Now exclusively on iHeart. This is the Scout Fantasy Show with your host, the one, the only, Dr. Roto.
Hi, it's Dr. Roto. Get out the insurance cards. Get out the copay. The office is open, my friends. Good to be here with you. So let's get it started. Some shocking news in the NFL. That's the only word I can have for it, is shocking. Jeremy Maclin released by the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, how does that happen? When I saw it happen, I said to myself, look, I know he didn't have a great year last year. I get it. I 100% get that. But at the same time, is arguably their best receiver. I mean, I love Tyreek Hill. But I've got to say that Maclin is the most experienced receiver they have and arguably the best. I know that they saved $10 million, but they lose about, I think it's $7 million of dead money. So they save a little, they lose a little, but they get rid of him. So now the Chiefs have Tyreek Hill, the aforementioned Tyreek Hill, who I absolutely love. Okay? And you're going to see him climb way, way high in drafts. I think when it's all said and done, we're going to see Tyreek Hill as a late third, early fourth round pick. I do believe that. If you look at the weeks where he played when Maclin was out, I mean, that guy caught targets galore. And the other thing is you can't cover him. He's so fast, you can't cover this guy. You can't just say, I'll put Josh Norman on him. Josh Norman's not covering this guy. Nobody can cover this guy. You've got to set up a whole defense for Tyreek Hill because he's so fast. And they can move him around, right? Quick here, quick there, deep there. I don't know. So reverse here. You got to really prepare for Tyreek Hill. But I think this leaves the Chiefs very short. Don't tell me you're winning with Chris Conley. Don't tell me you're winning with Albert Wilson. I also think this really raises the value of Travis Kelce. I mean, Travis Kelce had 85 catches last year. 70-something the year before. I've got to think he'd be on pace for 90 or more this year. I mean, with no Maclin, I've got to think that. So he's an absolute and utter beast. So, I think getting rid of Maclin helps make it more clear that Hill and Kelce are the guys. And to be quite honest with you, I think Maclin hurt Hill and Kelce because Alex Smith felt the need to go to Maclin. I don't need to go to Maclin, so I have no problem losing him. I just didn't like the way it happened, right? It was a little shocking the way it happened. It's not like this guy looked like he was terrible. He wasn't, right? He was playing well in OTAs. I think people really thought that he was going to have a better year. So am I disappointed with them cutting him? No, I think it was more how they cut him than the fact that they did cut him. So now I want to look at some teams and say, where's the right fit? Right? Where's the right fit for Jeremy Maclin? First of all, apologize. I would say the Baltimore Ravens seem to be a good fit. But the question is this. Does Jeremy Maclin want to win or does he want to play? If he wants to win, are the Ravens the right team? Maybe. Ravens are built to win. But they've got Mike Wallace and Brashad Perriman. I think they're committed to Brashad Perriman this year. I don't think they bring in Maclin and sit Perriman. So is Maclin willing to be a third receiver on this team? Maybe. Dennis Pitta could be out for his career. Max Williams, Crockett Gilmore, all these guys are all never healthy. So Michael Campanera is a nice enough guy, but really? I think they could use Maclin. But is he willing to be a third wheel? So Baltimore's a spot. Buffalo. Buffalo makes the most sense, right? Makes the most sense. And LaShawn McCoy is trying to get him there. Now, look, the Bills' receiving core quite possibly could be one of the worst in football. Outside of Sammy Watkins, Roto, Zay Jones is a rookie. Andre Holmes is not very good. Philly Brown's not very good. And Brandon Tate's not very good. Immediately, Jeremy Maclin walks in there and legitimizes this receiving core. Immediately. Watkins and Maclin, that's legit. That's legit. But are you going to win a Super Bowl with Buffalo? Probably not. Is it going to help you offensively? Is this going to help your career? Probably not. It's going to catch 52 balls. 52 balls in Buffalo. And Nathan Peterman could be the quarterback by week 10. Does he go to Carolina? I don't see it. Chicago, maybe. I mean, Chicago will take anybody. Cameron Meredith is hurt. Marcus Wheaton's always hurt. Cincinnati, no. Dallas is an interesting spot. I hate Terrence Williams. Hate him. Dez and Maclin, that makes some sense. You want to win a Super Bowl? There you go. That's a good spot. That's a good landing spot. Houston. Will Fuller can't catch a cold. This guy's terrible. Could he end up there? Maybe. I don't see it. I'm trying to look for other places. I would have said the Rams, but they brought in like 17 guys. Certainly not the Chargers. Miami. They have Kenny Stills, but Landry, Parker, and Maclin, I don't see that one. The Vikings brought in Floyd. I'm trying to think. The Giants brought in Brandon Marshall. The Jets could absolutely use him. I mean, the Jets could use this guy yesterday. Decker and Maclin, that's legit. But I think I'd rather go to Buffalo and play with my man LaShawn McCoy and Sammy Watkins. Look, because the deal is, if Maclin plays well and Buffalo loses Watkins because they don't want to re-sign him, they could sign Maclin. That would make sense to me. Maybe Philadelphia, but I doubt it. I like the move in Pittsburgh, but I don't think that the Steelers need him. How about San Francisco? They certainly can use him. But once again, you're going to Buffalo or San Francisco. Are you winning a Super Bowl? Pierre Garçon and Jeremy Maclin. That's okay. But, I mean, the team stinks. The team's not very good at all. So I think the best places, I do like Dallas. That makes a lot of sense. Baltimore makes a ton of sense. San Francisco and Buffalo. Those are the landing spots for Jeremy Maclin. But I think fantasy football's very strange in the way that, not just fantasy, but real football, the salary cap is so brutal that they overpay certain guys and underpay other guys, and you know that you could cut Jeremy Maclin. Imagine this: if this was baseball, would they cut Maclin? If this was basketball, would they cut Maclin? Never, never would happen. Never, never, never would happen. So let's take a look at some other news in fantasy football. So the Redskins, I mentioned Josh Norman before. The new Redskins defensive coordinator, Greg Minuski, who actually went to college with my wife, by the way, has said that Josh Norman will shadow the number one receivers this season. What this does is, I think this is something that everybody always expected. You bring in Josh Norman, and you are basically saying, you're my guy. I need you to cover Dez, Beckham, and Jeffrey. There you go. Those are your guys. I need you on them. Now, are you going to stop Dez, Beckham, and Jeffrey? Probably not. I need you to slow them down. I need you to slow them down. So, is this a good move by the Redskins? Yeah. I don't think it worked out for them very well last year when they let Norman cover one side of the field. So, this is a good move. Now, now, what I want you to think about, not just is this a good move for the Redskins, let's take a look at the value for Jeffrey, Dez Bryant, and Odell Beckham. Does this hurt their value? I believe it does. I believe it does. So let's take a closer look. Odell Beckham against Washington last year. 5 for 44, 7 for 121. If I remember the first game, he didn't get covered by Norman. The second game he did, if I remember correctly. You know, Dallas with Dez Bryant, let me look at the numbers here. So that was 5 for 72, 7 for 102. Once again, I don't think that Norman covered him the first week. I think he did the second week. I would say this. Does this devalue Dez or Beckham or Jeffrey for me? Slightly, not a lot. I mean, let's go back to, I think Beckham is a better choice to go back to for a second. I want to ask you this question. How many weeks do you think Odell Beckham was phenomenal last year? Phenomenal. What would you guess off the top of your head? What if I told you the answer was about 5? 1 week was 7 for 121. He had an 8 for 222 and 2 touchdowns. That's 2. 10 for 97 and a touchdown, 3. 6 for 96 and 2 touchdowns, 4. 10 for 105. 11 for 156. Maybe he had a couple other good games there. 4 for 94 and a touch. 6 for 64. But he had like 6 really good games. 6 really good games. Like he underperformed the New Orleans game. He underperformed against Chicago. He underperformed in a bunch of games that I think people thought he would do much better, right? But I would say he had about 6 to 7 really good games. So now I assume that those games aren't going to be against Washington. What about Dez Bryant? How many good games did he have? Like really good, top-notch games. So Dez Bryant last year had a 7 for 102, 4 for 113 and a touchdown, 6 for 116 and a touchdown, 4 for 84 and a touchdown, 4 for 70 and 2 touchdowns. He had 5 really good games. 5. So what I'm trying to say is a top receiver usually gets you 5 to 7 really big games. So if Josh Norman is covering these guys, so that's just 2 games, it won't happen. But I only expect it. So my point is, am I going to drop Beckham and Bryant and Jeffrey significantly because of news like that? Probably not. Because how many guys in football are as good as Josh Norman? Very, very few. Very, very few are shutdown guys. Right? Maybe Jason Verrett. Maybe Josh Norman. You know, there's a handful of guys that are just shut down cornerbacks. Right? And that's something when we start to get into our fantasy football podcasts with more depth, right? We'll be looking at those cornerbacks, right? We do that during the year. Desmond Trufant, right? Who's going up against him, right? Jimmy Smith, right? I always look at, I'm just giving you some names here, right? Prince Amukamara, right? Am I worried about him? I don't think so. Orlando Scandrick, not worried about him, right? Josh Norman, I'm worried about. So I look at that. So I say to myself, Odell Beckham. He gets Dallas' secondary, which is terrible, right? Really terrible. He gets the Eagles' secondary, Patrick Robinson and Jalen Mills, nothing there. So it's Josh Norman, 2 bad games. I'm not going to worry about it. Okay? So when you see a piece of news like that, take it for what it's worth. But don't let it affect you too much. Okay? So we also discussed Dennis Pitta earlier before. It looks like Dennis Pitta finally has a career-ending injury. He's been dealing with hip issues for the last 5 years of his career. And he fractured and dislocated his hip for the 3rd time. So this is just terrible. And the worst part is that Joe Flacco loves throwing to him. So we discussed Jeremy Maclin. It seems like that's a really good spot. And I would have to think that if Maclin doesn't end up in Buffalo, he will end up with the Baltimore Ravens. That seems to make the most sense to me. Okay? I want to do this right now with you. I want to go to playffwc.com. And I want you to see the different contests that you could get into. Because it's June. And maybe just now, you're starting to think some fantasy football. Okay? You come on to playffwc.com, you get to our lobby. We got drafts coming up Tuesday night, right? Tuesday, we got a couple of drafts. Wednesday, Friday. Look at that on Sunday. There's a Beat Lisa Ann draft. And you just keep on going down. Online championship drafts, starter drafts, draft and goes, super flex drafts, dynasty drafts. We are pretty much drafting throughout, okay? And I always say this. First of all, we pay out the most money. We pay out the most money. Right there, it should be game over. Best customer service. Scott Atkins works so hard to make you guys happy and to make these leagues run well. He does an amazing job. Truly amazing. The cheat sheets we offer in the room, the best draft room, no trade so nobody screws you, right? You don't want to lose a league. I literally got, I want you to know this. I got an email yesterday from a friend. And the friend said, I quit a league that I was in. I quit a league that I was a commissioner in, as a matter of fact. And he said, he said to me, I'm glad that you quit. He goes, I think I'm going to quit too because I can't deal with the bad trades in this league. Who wants to be in a league where trading ruins your league? I don't. I hope you don't either. There's no trading in these leagues. No collusion, no bad deals. You win mano a mano. You pick up a guy, I pick up a guy, our waivers, our drafts. That's how we roll. That's how I want to win. And I say this, I don't want to be in your home league. I don't want to be in your friend's league. I don't want to be in any office league. You want to play me, I want to be in a high stakes league where there's no trading. Then let's take our shot. Me against you. I'll be in Vegas. Will you? I hope you are. And you know how you do it? You check out playffwc.com. You also check out scoutfantasy.com. Enter the promo code Roto. Pay for 1 month, get 2 more for free. It's as simple as that. But right now, what I want you to do is put away the insurance cards, put away the copay. The office is closed, my friends. We will be back with more information, whether it's fantasy football, fantasy baseball, whatever is most relevant to you to help you win your leagues. That's what we're going to cover here on this podcast. Today was Jeremy Maclin. Tomorrow, I don't know what it'll be, but it'll be current and it'll be something to help you. All right, guys, wishing you a great day. Be well. Take care.
Thanks for listening to the Scout Fantasy Show. There's never been a better time to join the Scout Army. Visit scoutfantasy.com. Use the promo ROTO for 2 months free. And don't forget, fantasy players, please thumbs up the podcast on the iHeart app. See you next time. Go Scouts!